What's up guys, Shane Stars here. I've been using the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra for the past couple of weeks and I've been able to take a deep dive into all the settings and features. I'm going to share with you guys the top 30 hidden and advanced features for the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. These are things that you probably haven't seen anywhere else. Let's go ahead and get started. One of the most important tips that I can give to you is that you really need to protect your new Galaxy Note 20 or 20 Ultra. Big shout outs to i-Blason for sponsoring this video. They did send out a couple of Aries series cases. The Aries series case has been 20-foot drop protection certified by CNET. It's even been tested at 50 feet by Everything Apple Pro, and of course the phone did survive. What makes this case so protective is an unbending polycarbonate shell and backing wrapped in a shock-absorbing TPU bumper. As a full-body case with deeply raised bezels and port covers to keep out dust, dirt, and moisture, you're getting super high-quality protection for a really low price of $20. You can easily find these cases by searching Note 20 cases by i-Blason on Amazon, or I'll be sure to include a link in the description of where you can pick up your case today. So after using this phone for a couple of weeks, if there was anything that I could improve on this phone, it would have to be battery life. So I'm able to get about 4 to 5 hours of screen on time. I can get through most of the day. I find that at about 5 to 6 o'clock, I do need to put the phone back on charge. So the first thing we're going to cover is just a few tips for battery life improvements. The first thing you'll want to do here is go into your settings, go into display, and then turn on this dark theme. So one thing that's going to help here, this is an AMOLED display. Whenever the phone has to display colors other than black, it is turning on each individual pixel. So when the theme is set to black, that's going to save ultimate battery life. Next up, we'll jump back into our settings, head on over to the display and go to motion smoothness. Now this is set to adaptive display by default. That means you can get up to 120 Hertz. That actually is awesome because it makes this phone feel super fast and snappy. I personally will not turn off the adaptive display, but if you're looking for battery life improvements and 120 Hertz is not a big deal to you, you can turn on the standard mode. That's gonna put it in 60 Hertz. It's gonna feel a little more clunky. If you're used to that on your previous phone, it may not be such a big deal. But the benefit of that is you are going to save some battery life. There's another benefit to that. If we go to screen resolution in our display settings, we now have the option to turn on the QHD plus display. So we're gonna get every pixel that this phone is capable of. We're gonna get the highest resolution possible out of this display. Of course, you can take that a step further by enabling a wallpaper that has a dark background. So here I've got a black background on my wallpaper. The application that I'm using is the Wallpix application. As you can see, Wallpix has wallpapers that are designed specifically for the Note 20, and yesterday I actually emailed the developer and asked for Mike Wazowski wallpapers. He said they'd be available today, and they are, so that's pretty awesome. This is actually my favorite wallpaper from the Wallpix app, so I'm gonna go ahead and set this now for both my home screen and my lock screen. Now I get Mike Wazowski hiding the camera hole, which is pretty incredible, and I get extra battery savings with that black background. Just to give you an idea of what all is available, there are so many wallpapers that are designed to help hide that camera cutout, or at least to utilize the camera hole within the various wallpapers. So there are just tons and tons of wallpapers that are made to fit this screen perfectly and also utilize the camera cutout. My final battery saving tip here is to disable adaptive brightness. To do that, we're going to open up our notification shade. On the brightness slider here, click the little arrow down button and turn off adaptive brightness. And then you're gonna want to dial down the brightness to 20 to 30%. You'll notice that even in outdoor settings, the screen is so bright that if you have it at about 30 to 50%, it's going to be plenty bright even for outdoors. Now, of course, when I'm indoors, most of the time I turn this brightness almost all the way down. Adjusting this brightness manually throughout the day is definitely going to help to save some precious battery life. So this tip is actually going to be a little twofer here. By default, the brightness slider is not in the notification shade whenever you do a single swipe down. If you're going to be manually adjusting brightness all day, you probably want that to be easily accessible. In your notification panel here, you'll swipe down once more, click on the menu button, go to quick panel layout, and where it says show brightness on top, make sure that that's enabled. Now when you swipe down once, you will find your brightness slider right there with your quick toggles. While we're looking at the notification panel, let's go ahead and enable the swipe down from anywhere on the screen to access it. So we'll kind of pinch the screen there. We will go into our home screen settings. We'll go to swipe down for notification panel. So this is a huge screen and it can be unwieldy. Sometimes when you're holding it in your hand, it's hard to reach all the way to the top. When you have swipe down for notification panel enabled, you can swipe down from anywhere on the screen and that's going to bring up your notification shade. If you swipe down and swipe down again, you're going to get the full quick panel toggle layout there. So we can also manage how our notifications show up. If we go into our settings and we go to notifications, we go to status bar here, you've got a few options here. You can have all notifications be displayed in your notification bar. That's going to kind of look like a mess. You can have the number of notifications only. So it'll say, hey, you've got 5 notifications that you need to deal with. That's probably going to be the cleanest. I prefer the 3 most recent. So whatever my 3 most recent notifications, whether that's Gmail, Twitter, or whatever, that's going to come through, and I'm just going to see 3 notification icons up top at maximum, which looks pretty clean, and then at least I know what those notifications are without having to deep dive in. And while we're here, you may decide that you want to go ahead and show your battery percentage. This is what it comes like stock. If you turn that on, now you can see exactly where your battery life is all throughout the day. So if your battery life is not really an issue for you and you're like, hey, I can get to a charger pretty quickly, and performance is really what you're worried about, one thing that you're going to want to do is change your animation speed. Paired with that 120 Hertz display, this is really going to feel like it is blazingly fast. So no matter what you're doing, switching from app to app, things are going to load much smoother, much quicker, and this is just going to feel like a super quick device. So what we're going to do is jump into our settings. We're going to go all the way down to About Phone. We're going to go to Software Information. Next up, we're going to go to this build number here and click on that until it tells us that we're a developer. Here you're going to enter in your PIN, not my PIN. All right, so now it says developer mode has been turned on. We'll go back and back again. And then we're going to scroll down here to developer options. If we scroll all the way down to the drawing options here, we're going to go to these animation options, window animation scale, transition animation scale, and animator duration scale. We're going to turn these to half. If you turn them all the way off, sometimes the app window will load before the app is ready, and that can actually look a little buggy. But if you turn it to half, you're going to see the full speed of that app loading. So you guys can kind of already see animations are much smoother, much faster. If we load Twitter, it is instant. So we have this massive display, and maybe you want to take advantage of all of this screen real estate. There are a few things that we can do to get more content on the screen at the same time. So we're going to pinch and we're going to go to our home screen settings. We're going to go to home screen grid, and we can increase this all the way to 5:6. This is going to give you the maximum amount of apps on your screen. If you're somebody that is visually impaired and you need things to be much bigger, you can scale that back to 4:5. It won't allow you to have as many apps on the screen, but you'll be able to see them easier because they'll be much bigger. So there's 5:6, there's 4:5. If we go back, we can do the same thing with the app screen grid. By default, it's set to 5:6. That's the most apps you're going to be able to have on the screen at once. If you're visually impaired, maybe you want to step that back to 4:5. That's going to make the app icons much bigger and easier to see. So if we go into our display settings and then we go down to where it says font size and style, you can actually decrease the font size. And this, when you decrease the font size, it's going to allow for more content on the screen at the same time, which means you're going to be scrolling less. If you're not able to see as well, you can actually increase that font size so that things are easier to see. If we go back and we go to screen zoom, this is kind of the same thing here. If you have it all the way to the left here, it's going to allow for more content on the screen. But if you have a harder time seeing, you can zoom the screen and it's going to make it much easier to read words on the display. If we go back into font size and style, I forgot to mention, you can actually change the font type. So you can actually customize the font to your liking. There's also an option here to download fonts, and the customization options here are endless. The Note series has always been the series for that pro level user. You can actually multitask like crazy on this phone. So one way that you can multitask, of course, is you can go into the recents menu and you can go back and forth between apps that way. You can also scroll right to left on the home button here to get through your applications. It's another really easy way to multitask. And then you can also utilize split screen. So if I pull my recents back up, I can tap on the icon for the application and I can open it in split screen view, and then I can scroll through and find a secondary app. So maybe I want to browse the web while I'm on Twitter. I'll just click on that application there. I can go to Tesla and see what Tesla's doing for the day, and then I can post about what Tesla stocks are doing on Twitter. Of course, there's endless options for the split screen view, but you're able to get more things done at once. Maybe you're watching a video here, some kind of a movie or something, and you want to know something about that particular actor. You don't have to close out of the movie in order to search on the web. You can do those things at the same time. So maybe you want to open up many windows at once. You can even do that. Go back into your recents, click the app icon, and choose Open in Pop-up View. Now you have this ready to go in pop-up view. We can pull our recents back up and we can open up as many of these windows as we want. You can even move these different pop-up screens around. This is going to give you true multi-window on your display so that you're able to do multiple things at once and really get stuff done. Another really great productivity feature that's built into Android is Nearby Share. Think of this as AirDrop, but for Android. This is awesome. We've all been wanting AirDrop for so long. We finally have it on Android. So to enable that and to use it to share files, we're going to scroll down here. We're going to pull down our status bar and pull it down again, and then go over to the option that says Nearby Share. You can grab any file, choose to share that, and you'll see Nearby Share as an option. We'll go ahead and select Nearby Share. It's going to find my device here. I'll go ahead and share it to that phone, and we'll accept it over here, and now we have that phone on our other Android phone. As simple as that. So now we have AirDrop for Android. That's called Nearby Share, and you can find that in your notification panel. So another really cool feature on the Galaxy Note 20 is the always on display. The always on display is not enabled by default. You'll have to go into your settings, go to lock screen, go to always on display, turn that on, and you do have a few options. You've got tap to show. So if your phone's asleep, you tap it, it's gonna show you your time, date, and notifications. You can have it to show always. That's gonna use about 1 to 3% of your battery life throughout the day. It doesn't use a ton of the battery life because there again, we've got an AMOLED display, and when it's showing the color black, that means those pixels are turned off. And then you can turn this on as show as scheduled. So if you don't need that bright light emitting from your display, you can actually set that to turn off from say 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. You know you're not gonna be looking at your phone anyway while you're sleeping, so you can turn the always on display off while you're asleep. Anyhow, I'll turn this to show always, and you guys can get an idea of what the always on display looks like. You're always gonna have the most important information on your display even while the phone is sleeping. Next up, let's take a look at the camera. And if we jump into our settings, one thing that you're gonna want to do immediately is turn the scene optimizer off. So the scene optimizer is turned on by default. Whenever you take a selfie picture and it looks like everything is super smooth, almost cartoonish, it may be because you have the scene optimizer turned on. If we go into this shooting methods option, you can choose the floating shutter button. If we go back into the camera, you can actually move this shutter button anywhere. This is great if you were taking the picture with your hand. You can put it right about where your thumb is. That way you're not having to reach way down here at the bottom of the screen. You can just touch the shutter button right where it naturally meets your thumb. If we go into this advanced recording options, there's also an option here to zoom in the mic. So if someone's standing far away from you and you're trying to record them, if you turn this on, these microphones are going to dial in on the subject and you're going to be able to hear what they're saying better as it drowns out the noises around it. Have you ever been in a public place and you hear someone blasting a video on their phone and it's just totally polluting the sound around you? You don't have to be that person. You can watch a video and actually understand what's going on without any volume. Just click over on the volume button here, go to your volume settings and turn on live caption. This is going to give you live caption on any video. You can drag and drop the live caption. This works on YouTube, it's going to work on Twitter. Anywhere where you find video, you'll have Google assisted live caption words and text there, so you can actually read what's going on without polluting the sound around you. If you want to dismiss this or turn it off, you can grab it and drag it all the way to the bottom, and that will dismiss live caption. Whenever you are watching a video, sometimes if a call comes in, it can be distracting because it will take up the entire screen, but you can actually enable a little pop-up window to accept and dismiss calls. So if someone calls you while you're watching a video, it's going to totally interrupt everything by just popping up there, and you're not able to continue watching the video that you were trying to watch. So that can be totally annoying. There's actually a setting you can change to make a little pop-up window to accept and decline calls so that it doesn't interrupt everything on your display. So to enable that, we'll go into our phone app, we'll go into the menu and settings where it says call display while using apps. You've got a few options. I prefer this pop-up option, but there's also the mini pop-up option. So now that we have that, we'll go back into our video, and now you're gonna get your call right here. You can even go back to your video very quickly so you're not really interrupted. You can choose to accept or decline the call right there from that mini pop-up window. And you can actually use the S Pen to handwrite your text. If you go into your menu here and you go to handwriting, now you can actually respond by writing out your text messages. And it does a really good job of deciphering even my chicken scratch. I have pretty bad handwriting and it still picks it up. And for you, this may be easier than typing on the keyboard, just using your pen to text. While we're in the keyboard, there are so many settings that are dedicated to the keyboard that you probably didn't know about that are going to make the keyboard experience so much better. So the first thing here is that you can use your spacebar as a precision editor. So instead of having to go up here and find the exact space where you need to edit your text, you can press and hold the spacebar here and use that as a cursor to go back and edit your text. So that's a pretty awesome feature. If you want super precision, accurate cursor movement here, we can go back to our menu and we can go to text editing, and you can actually utilize these arrows to edit your text that way. So to get even more precise text editing, you can go back into your menu, go to text editing here, and you can use these arrows to get exactly where you want to be in your text to edit. You can also paste from here, so you can select there as well. You can copy that and then easily paste that as well. So precision text editing is pretty incredible, especially if you're working on an email and you need to edit that on your phone, or maybe you write for a publication and you want to edit. You can do that simply with this text editor. Your keyboard also has some customization options. So if we go into our settings and we go to style and layout and we go to high contrast keyboard, there are actually several high contrast options here that are going to help you to see each individual button much easier than you could on just a standard dark theme keyboard. So one thing that I really love about the Note keyboard is that it does include the numbers on the top row, but if you wanted to remove those, you could just go back into your settings, go into the style and layout, go to keyboard layout, and you can actually hide the numbers. It's going to give you more screen real estate, and then you would just click on this button to bring up your numbers. For now, I'm going to keep mine turned on because I do prefer them. If you needed more screen real estate without getting rid of the numbers, you could go to size and transparency and make your keyboard smaller or larger. Another really cool feature here, if we go back into our menu, you now see these options here for YouTube and Spotify. This allows you to easily and quickly share files through text messaging, through WhatsApp, through Facebook Messenger. Just go here, this is gonna load some YouTube videos here. You can also search for YouTube videos. So for me, if I wanted to search my own videos to share, somebody's asking me a question about a specific phone, I've got a video that I can show them. So maybe they're asking about the Note 20 battery life. I know for a fact that I've got a video on the Note 20 battery life. It's going to load that particular link right there, and they can easily access that through the messaging application. So the next few things that we're going to go over here have to do with security. There is a setting that allows you to lock down an application. So say your friend needed to borrow your phone to call somebody, you could actually lock down the dialer, so that way all they can do is use the phone. They won't be able to actually access photos or personal information. So in order to enable that, we will go into our settings. We'll go into biometrics and security. We'll go down to other security settings, and we can turn pin windows on. All right, so say they wanted to find a video in YouTube. We'll go to our recents and we'll click on the app icon. We're gonna pin this app. So now that the app is pinned, they're not gonna be able to do anything outside of the YouTube app without putting in my security settings, my fingerprint or my PIN or something like that. So I'm trying to go back home here. To go home, I'll have to actually unlock my phone, and now I can go back home. So depending on the company you keep, you may or may not need this next feature. This is called lockdown mode, and it disables all biometrics and all unlocking methods other than the unlock pin. So say you're gonna take a nap or you're gonna go to sleep, and you think there may be somebody there that may actually try to use your thumb while you are not able to think for yourself because you're sleeping to unlock your phone, or maybe they're gonna use your face if you have face unlock turned on to get into your phone. This is going to disable all biometric features until you re-enable them. To turn on lockdown mode, we're gonna go into our settings. We're gonna go to secure lock settings. You're gonna enter your PIN here and not mine. And then we're gonna go to show lockdown options. Now, whenever we go into our power menu, we're gonna have this lockdown mode option. That has been 30 or more tips and hidden features and advanced features for the Galaxy Note 20 and Note 20 Ultra. Hopefully this is gonna help you to have the best possible experience with your brand new phone. Big shout outs once again to i-Blason for sponsoring this video, and I'll be sure to include a link in the description of where you can pick up the Aries case for the Note 20. Also, there again, just be sure to search. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to this channel for more content like this in the future. Thanks guys for watching, be blessed, and I'll see you in the next one.